Get ready for another microdose. And hey, if this information is jiving with you, then check out the full episode. The link is in the show notes. Enjoy the ride.
But if you're angry at somebody because they cut you off in traffic, what's that going to do to you? It can't be good for your health. So
Yeah,
Right.
I definitely feel that.
And you can let it out, like if it's funny or something. I think I even say this in the book. Like it's not like I'm quiet in the car. Berkeley, California has some of the worst drivers I've ever seen in the world where I've traveled. It's like hesitation plus entitlement. Deadly combo.
right.
Deadly combo. So, I'll be in the car and be like, what do you need? A written invitation? Make your left turn, lady. But it's mostly like, that's a letting out. And it's not hurting anybody. It's mostly humorous. And I'm like, done. I'm not chasing her down, like trying to mess with anybody. It's gone after that. So an expression like that doesn't hurt anybody. But when people are like speeding up or slowing down, it gets actually dangerous.
Sure.
Oh, you were saying with your kids, John, like you don't always control who could do that with kids? I don't even have kids, but I do work with kids. And I say that I'm mad. Like if they're under 11, I don't say pissed off. I don't swear in front of little kids. But, I'll be like, that's really making me mad. What you're doing right now, stop that. That's making me mad. If you continue to do it, there will be consequences. Or I usually just state what the consequence is.
Right,
and they know it beforehand too, because I have laid it out. The cutting book is a parenting manual, and it has have the contract again on the fridge with the wheel. Have the contract of what your privileges are, what the expectations are, what the consequences are for not meeting any sort of expectations, how long the consequences will last. I mean, even with little kids, I don't think there's any too early for doing these things, because it has the family all on the same page of how we're going to behave and what happens if we don't behave according to the family's values. And that also keeps the parents from making mood dependent decisions. Meaning if they are like, well, I don't want to give them that consequence because whatever, it's on the contract.
Yeah. Right.
When you are in your wise mind, you made that contract. Right now, you're emotionally activated. We don't make decisions from an emotionally activated point. You go back to the contract and you stick to the contract, even if your heart breaks, because that's your job. You made people. Now do your job. Your heartbreaking matters not.
Well, Dr. Kelley, help us. You're kind of touching on a little bit here, but I would like
a lot.
We've had right, exactly. But we've had what I would like you help us to understand is primary and secondary emotions, right? Where anger is often a secondary emotion that's tied to something deeper inside of us. So, is that true? Could you help us kind of iron that out a little bit?
I do go into it a little in the book because people say it so often, but I'm not a big ascriber to this language of primary and secondary. I think it's a little bit binary. And again, the spectrum of emotion and intensity of emotion, I think we have a lot of different emotions at the same time, and no one wants to deal with that. Everybody has this linear way that they want to go about it. Oh, I'm feeling this, but not this. You could feel rage and joy at the same time.
Yeah. Well, it's complex. Exactly. But if I'm angry, and if you keep asking the question, why are you angry? Why are you angry? And really trying to get to rock bottom, it could be well, I was betrayed and that's why I'm angry. You know what I mean? So it's and that betrayal in this example, it is kind of the place to work from, where the anger almost, if this is the case, would kind of masks that wound of betrayal, if you will. And you're acting out in anger instead of being really kind of realizing or working from that place and being aware of that place of betrayal. Is that, it's kind of 'cause I do like that for me, sometimes that understanding the depth of what is going on emotionally inside of me, instead of just, labeling it as anger or something like that, or whatever that secondary emotion is.
Well, let's break it down. Let's break it down.
Please.
So if you think you've been betrayed, the reason I say it, that betrayal is not an emotion. But if you think that you've been betrayed, how does that make you feel? Angry. I mean, anger is appropriate, but yes, to your point, I think I would definitely dig in. First of all, if you think you're being betrayed, it's a thought that may or may not be true. Just because you think it
or I was betrayed. You know what I mean? If someone breaks my trust, right? Like, that's betrayal. You know what I mean? Right? Or is betrayal really not a feeling? Because it's like,
it's not.
Well, I think it's an action, right? So you've been betrayed, but you
think you've been betrayed, yes.
Okay.
Then of course you'd be pissed off. I mean, I don't think that that's a problem. And then I would dig in further and be like, well, okay, I'm not even arguing whether you've been betrayed or not. I'm just pointing out the fact that it's not an emotion. And just because we think things, it doesn't make it true.
Hey, thanks for joining us on this journey. Small doses lead to big changes. If you're vibing with this snippet, then take a listen to the full episode by clicking the link in the show notes. If you would like to plug in deeper to what we're doing, head to mentalkingmindfulness.com or text MTM to 33777. Until next time, peace.